The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations declared Monday that Russia didn't give us the answers that any of us would have hoped that they would provide after a tense United Nations Security Council meeting over Moscow's escalation along the border with Ukraine ended in a standoff. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield told reporters following the session, in which the U.S. accused Russia of planning to mass tens of thousands of troops along the Belarus-Ukraine border, that the U.S. called for this meeting to allow the Russians to give us an explanation of what their actions are. "We didn't hear much," she said. The open meeting at the UN headquarters in New York proceeded Monday despite opposition from China and Russia. U.S. officials have repeatedly urged Moscow to take a diplomatic path forward, warning that a renewed invasion of Ukraine would result in swift and significant sanctions, a message reiterated by President Joe Biden on Monday while the meeting was underway. In her remarks to the Security Council Monday, Thomas-Greenfield said, "We continue to hope Russia chooses the path of diplomacy over the path of conflict in Ukraine. But we cannot just wait and see. It is crucial that this council address the risk that their aggressive and destabilizing behavior poses across the globe." She spoke of Russia's buildup of more than 100,000 troops along its border with Ukraine, as well as U.S. intelligence that Russia has moved nearly 5,000 troops into Belarus and intends to mass more than 30,000 troops near the Belarus-Ukraine border, by early February. If Russia further invades Ukraine, none of us will be able to say we didn't see it coming. And the consequences will be horrific, Thomas-Greenfield said. Russian ambassador to the UN Vasily Nebenzia claimed UN colleagues are whipping up tensions and rhetoric, saying that the US and others wanted conflict to take place. "This deployment of Russian troops in our own territory is getting our Western and U.S. colleagues to say that there's going to be a planned military action and even an act of aggression, the military action of Russia against Ukraine that they're all assuring us is going to take place in just a few weeks' time, if not a few days' time. There, however, is no proof confirming such a serious accusation whatsoever being put forward," he said in translated remarks at the meeting. "You are almost calling for this, you want it to happen. You're waiting for it to happen, as if you want to make your words become a reality. This is despite the fact that we are constantly rejecting these allegations, and this is despite the fact that no threat of a planned invasion into Ukraine from the lips of any Russian politician or public figure over all of this period has been made," Nebenzia said. Thomas-Greenfield responded that it was Moscow that was being provocative, not the U.S. or its Security Council partners. "We have made clear our commitment to the path of diplomacy. I hope our Russian colleagues will also choose this path and engage peacefully with the international community, including Ukraine," she said. Monday's UN Security Council meeting comes a day ahead of an expected conversation between U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, their first since the U.S. submitted its written responses to Moscow last week. Public reactions to those written responses, in which administration officials said the U.S. voiced willingness to work with Russia on things like arms control but refused to give room on NATO's open-door policy, have been largely pessimistic. Blinken said last week that he heard a variety of initial responses from different people in Russia to the paper that we shared with them, as well as to the paper that NATO shared with them. But the response that counts is President Putin's response, Blinken said in an interview with Radio Free Europe/Radio Liberty. And we'll look forward to his response, which I'm sure will be conveyed through Foreign Minister Lavrov and others in the days ahead. That's what matters most. The U.S. ambassador to the United